Okay, so our first question is on the rhythm. This is from the 2020 sample paper. So over here, I've shown how these time signatures can be broken into the main beats. Obviously 2/4 is 2 crotchet beats, 7/8 is 7 quavers. You could have the 4 quavers first and then the 3 after that, it doesn't matter, but they are 7 quavers. And then 5/8 is 5 quavers. Again, these can be rearranged where you have the group of 2 first and then 3. So looking at this here, we've got a group of demi-semi-quavers, so that adds up to a half, and these two add up to another half, which is a crotchet. So I know straight away it's not going to be the 2/4 time. So we're obviously looking now at either the 7/8 or the 5/8, and once we know that, we can just count up how many quavers are actually in the bar. As I said, this group of 4 equals 1 already, so that's 1. This is a quaver. These two fit into another quaver. We've got 1 quaver here, and the dot and this one add up to another quaver. So now we have 5. So our answer in this one is the 5/8. This is exercise B. We've got 2 separate groupings of notes. So we've all of these in one group and we have these in a triplet here on this one. So I know by looking at this and when I see 3 under the quavers, I'm thinking crotchet beats, but let's have a look at our options here. 2, 4, 5 quavers in the bar. And then our next grouping is the 9/16, which is semi-quavers. We've 9 of them in the bar and they are grouped together in groups of 3s. So there's 1 group, 2 and 3, and they're dotted quaver beats. So the main beats in 16 is dotted quavers. This is worth a crotchet, which is say 2 quavers. And we have 1 quaver here in this little grouping. And we have another quaver in this little grouping here. So as you can see, that is 4 quavers basically in the bar. And so that rules out our 5/8. And if we look at our 9/16, we should have 3 groupings there. So we can tell by the way that the notes are grouped together, firstly, that it's not that. And so in this one, our correct time signature would be the 2/4. In our last example here then, and then it looks like a group here together, and then another group here. So I've 7/8, we've got 6/8, which is 2 groups of 3 quavers together. And the big beats there for that bar would be 2 separate dotted crotchets. We have 3/4, which is 3 crotchet beats. If you count out the quavers here, one of our options here was 7, and obviously that's not going to fit now because we've only ended up with 6. These two often cause problems because you could say that there's 6 quaver beats in 3/4 as well, but the important thing to remember is the grouping. So like I said here, in this one, there's 2 distinct groups of 3, and we keep them separate like that. Whereas in 3/4, if there were 6 quavers, I can group the 6 quavers together. So that looks quite different to your groupings in 6/8. And when it comes down to it, that's what we're going to look at, is the grouping of the notes. At the very start, I did bigger picture image and I zoomed out to see the groupings. And because I've already counted out the quavers, I can tell that this is actually like that. And this one is actually like that. And so with that time signature, it has to be the 6/8. This is showing you a bar in simple time. And they're then asking you which of these would be the correct one if it was written into compound time. So 9/8 is also 3 beats, 3 main beats in the bar. So let's break this down. We can see that in the first one here, we have 3 beats in the bar and we've got a triplet. So this is basically, ignore the rest and think of them as a triplet in a 3 time. So that's up to the first main beat of the bar. Then we have the 2 quavers together, which is obviously the second beat of the bar. And then this third one, again, think of this as a triplet. All it is they just made a crotchet of the last quaver. So it is like that, and that adds up to 1 crotchet. So the idea is that this will sound exactly the same, even though they're written differently. On the paper, when we play it on our instruments, they will sound exactly the same. We're looking for the first beat as a 3 under it in the 3 time, because otherwise it would be too much to fit into the 1 beat. We don't need that in the 9/8 because we have 3 notes that fit into the 1 beat anyway, and all of these are the same. Okay, so that's our first beat, doesn't really give us any clue. These ones are slightly different. We've got a 2 under this one here. So the first one here is we want 2 notes that equally fit into the beat. Okay, and it must fit into the 1 main beat of the second beat of the bar. So we've got 2 quavers and we've got a rest in that. Now there's no rest in this one over here. So why would there be a rest here? That's something that's different, not going to be that one. If we look down here, this says duplet. So when we have a duplet, it means 2 notes fitting equally into the beat in compound time. In 9/8 time would be one of these, so you'd have 3 quavers fitting into the beat. So you've gotten rid of one of those now when you use the duplet, but what you're saying is you want these 2 to fit in and to be played at the same time of 3. So these 2 are our options, our correct options so far, going on the second beat. This one is wrong. Here we've got a quaver and a crotchet, and they should, so this one's shorter and this one should be longer, and they both fit into our last beat. So now we're left with these 2. So we have a quaver and a crotchet here, and they both fit into, so that is like that. Okay, so that's what we've been given up here. And then we've got a triplet here over these two in 9/8 time. So we don't need it. It's not going to add up to what we need in that last beat. It's this one is the correct answer. Complete the following two sentences, very short and very easy here. But in 6/4, there are how many dotted minim beats in a bar? Equals 6 crotchet beats or 2 dotted minim. As the main beat of the bar is dotted, it's a compound time, 2 dotted minim beats. And then a dotted quaver is equal to how many semiquavers? There are 2 semiquavers in the first quaver, and because the dot behind the note always gets half the value of the note that it's in front of, and then that's 1. We have 1, 2, 3, so it's 3. This is asking us to tick the box to show which bar is grouped correctly together, and our time signature here is 6/16. So 6/16, if I just scoot over here and show you how that actually looks. So the number on top tells us how many beats in the bar, the number on the bottom tells us what kind of beats they are. So there is 6 somethings, and the 16 tells us that they are semiquavers. But it's the grouping of them that's really important. So we go 3 semiquavers in one group, and bigger picture zoning out what is the main beat for that, we make it a dotted quaver. So when our main beat is dotted, it's compound, and then we have another grouping here, and that's our second grouping. So we have 1, 2, 3. So instantly we can tell that when we go back to our 3 semiquavers here, we've got an extra note here in this grouping. So this one is definitely wrong. We can see here that because this is tied over, crossing over the middle of the bar, it's an incorrect one. So our last one has to be correct. And again, it shows us nice and clearly that we have 2 main beats. So there's our first main dotted quaver beat, and there's our second dotted quaver beat. The last one is the correct option. This is to tick or to X to show whether the rests in the bar are correct or incorrect. First thing to look at is our time signature, and C is the same as 4/4, 4 crotchet beats. Okay, and our groupings will be important for that. I can instantly tell that this is incorrect just by looking at this, but just to explain why. So you have a quaver and a quaver here, so that adds up to 1 crotchet. So the dotted quaver is actually incorrect here because it's bringing a bit of the next beat into this here. So this forms 1 main beat, or it should do. This here is bringing us into the 3rd beat of the bar, which shouldn't be joined onto the 2nd. So that one is incorrect because of that. What you would do here instead of using the dotted quaver rest in simple time, is we would just, because this is 3 semiquavers and it should add up to a crotchet, we would just use a semiquaver rest there. That would be the correct grouping there for that. So let's group them in groups of 4 crotchets. So we have 1 crotchet there, we've got 2 crotchets here at the end, and then we have our triplet. So this is a quaver triplet. 1 crotchet beat, we have 2 crotchet beats, and we have 3 and 4 here. So this one is actually correct. We're given 2 crotchets, and then there's 2 missing. So even though this is a minim and there's 2 beats missing, we shouldn't be tying the 2nd. So that's the 1st and the 4th beat of the bar, and we are missing the 2nd and the 3rd. When you're in 4 time, you should have a nice division between the middle of the bar. So imagine you've got an imaginary line running down through the middle of the bar, and we shouldn't have a joining between the 2nd and the 3rd beats. This is a strong beat of the bar. This is a slightly stronger beat as well, not as strong as the 1st. So we could put the 3rd and the 4th together, and we can put the 1st and the 2nd together. But the 2nd and the 3rd are weak to a slightly stronger beat of the bar, which we don't do as a rule. So you need to imagine there's an invisible line down through those. So instead, what you would use there is you would use 2 crotchet rests. So that one is actually incorrect. This is to tick the box to show the correct name of the notes. Okay, here we have the tenor clef, which places our middle C on the 4th line. So this is middle C. So C, D, E, F, G, A. Our note is A. So we just tick the first box here. The next one then is to tick the box to show the correct enharmonic equivalent of the note. So for those that don't play piano, you need to be able to draw a keyboard out so that you can work out your enharmonic notes. This is great for scales, it's great for triads, it's great for transposition, it's great for everything. So we've been given the note B sharp. The enharmonic equivalent basically means that it will sound the same, but it's written differently. So an example of that would be, if we go to the keyboard, something like B flat is the enharmonic equivalent of A sharp. So this note sounds the same, but one is written as a sharp and one is written as a flat. So what is B sharp? So if we go to our keyboard here, so we just raise it by 1 semitone, so it's the same as C. So one of our notes that's the same as C here is the one that's going to be correct. So we've been given a D double flat. So if we go to our keyboard again, D double flat means lowering it by 2 semitones. So we go D1 is flat, and then another flat is C. So actually this first one is the correct option. Okay, so question 2.3 is a transposition question. It is written for the horn in F. So basically this is what they are seeing on the page. What we say is it's at sounding pitch, and pick out the mistakes and mark X or correct in the boxes below. So the first step is this key signature. Here is this, has this been written correctly a fifth below? This one is A major. We go down a fifth from A, should be D, so they've left out a sharp here. So this first one here is incorrect. So we have a C natural. So a fifth below C, F, and that's an F natural. So F to C is correct. That's a perfect fifth. Then we have A to E. That's also a perfect fifth. So the lowest note in the pair of notes is to be taken as in the major scale first. And if it appears in, if the note above appears in that major scale unaltered, then it is a perfect fifth. Okay. And if you think of A major, E is a natural part of A major, so it is correct. If the E was flat, however, then it would be a diminished interval. So remember, perfects become augmented or diminished. The next one along then is B to F natural. So again, if you take B as in B major, B major has 5 sharps. So F is the very first of those sharps, F, C, G, D, and A. If it's a sharp, it would have been a perfect fifth, but it's a natural, so it's incorrect. And then the last one here is G sharp to D sharp. This is a hard one to consider because of G sharp. You're not really going to think of G sharp major. Typically that's written as A flat major. So what we do instead is we just remove the both accidentals. So if you think of this as being G to D, that is a perfect fifth. So if we put a sharp on the lower note now, that is a diminished. We've made the interval smaller between them. And then if we take that again, but now we put a sharp on the upper note, we're now making the interval wider. So we've gone back to perfect. So that is actually correct. It's a perfect interval. You can also do this by, again, using your keyboard, and you should, in a perfect fifth, have 7 semitones. So you can check each interval to see that there's 7 semitones between them. So if we just take our last example there from G sharp to D sharp, around G sharp, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's our 7 semitones equals a perfect fifth. Basically, these ones are rewritten in different clefs, and you need to see then which statement below you just mark them, whether they're true or false. So the first one is that A and B are at the same pitch. So if we have a look at A, I've put in where the middle C is on the 4th line. We're in the tenor clef. And so therefore it is just the D flat above middle C. That's how we describe it. And then if we look to B, we're in the treble clef. So I've put in our middle C here. In the last one, it was here, just above middle C, whereas in this one, it's higher, it's an octave higher. So our statement says A and B are at the same pitch, so that's obviously false. Okay, the next one then is A is 1 octave higher than C. So we've got our A there in the tenor clef. C then is the bass clef, and there's our middle C. And it's the D flat just above middle C. Statement is A is 1 octave higher than C. So that is D flat just above the middle C. And this one here is the D flat just above the middle C. So they're actually at the same pitch. So that one is false. Then the last one is that B is 1 octave higher than C. So if we have a look again at B, so B is the D flat an octave above where that middle C is there. And C is just above. So this one is an octave higher. So this statement is true. Down to the section with keys and scales. This is question 3.1. This is to tick one box to show the correctly written key signature of G flat major. So obviously when you see a flat, we're dealing with flats in the key signatures and not sharps. So I just want to go over the sentence. Father Charles goes down and ends battle, as this is a really helpful sentence for working out not just the order of the sharps and the flats, but also what flats or sharps are in a certain key. So first let's do the sharps, okay? So the sharps work slightly differently. So from left to right we read the sentence. The first letter of every word reveals a sharp. When you go to that sharp and you go up 1 semitone, that is the name of the key that has that sharp. So F sharp is in the key of G major. When you go to the last sharp, so F sharp and C sharp, you go up 1 semitone from C sharp, you get D major. So D major has F sharp and C sharp. If you're working out what the key signature of A major is, you go through the sentence, F up to G, C up to D, G up to A. So we found it. So A major now has F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. E major will have F, C, G, and D. You go 1 semitone up from D sharp, you land on E, and so on through the sentence, okay? For the flats, it works differently. You're reading the sentence from right to left. Battle ends and down goes Charles' father. So B here, when it's just, and it works slightly differently, but when it's B flat by itself, we just need to know that that is F major, okay? So if you've B flat, E flat, and A flat is the last flat, you go to the second to last, which is E flat, and E flat major has B flat, E flat, and A flat. If you've B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat, A flat is your second to last flat, so A flat major has these 4 flats. And of course, they have to be in the right order, and they have to be in the right place. So we know we're dealing with flats with the G flat major, so let's look through our options here. So the first one has B flat and F, so that's obviously wrong because it's battle ends, it should be an E. Then we have a C flat, it starts with battle always, it's always B first, so C flat is wrong. Then we go to the tenor clef, this is a C here, so B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat. Okay, so that one is looking good so far. I'm just going to try this last one here, we're in the alto clef. So our middle C is on the middle line now, so that's a B flat, B, C, D, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, F. So this one here is actually wrong. One then is to show and tick the correct box for the key of D sharp minor.
Now to figure out what the related key is here for the major, which is F sharp major, what we do is we go to our keyboard, and I've mentioned this before, if you're not a piano player you need to be able to draw one of these out so you can use it for many different things. One of them is to figure out what the related major and minor keys are. So we're given a minor key of D sharp. For this one we go up 3 semitones and 2 letter names to find out the key. So up 2 letter names from D is F, so it's F something. So if we start here we go 1 semitone, 2 and 3, so it's F sharp major, and F sharp major has 6 sharps. Okay, let's run through our sharps that we have over here. So we have F sharp, C sharp, so this one here is incorrect because we have an A sharp and it's Father Charles goes, it should be a G. Here we have Fa in the treble clef, Father Charles goes down and ends. It is an E sharp, but it's in the wrong position. So it should be here in the top space. The third option then is in our tenor clef. So we have, remember that there's a change of position for the F sharp in the tenor clef. So F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, A sharp and E sharp. So okay, that's looking good. I'm just going to flick to the last one very quickly in the bass clef. So this is a C sharp is starting here. So remember our order for the sharps, Father Charles, it should be an F first. So that's wrong as well for that reason. Okay, so this is our correct answer.
Okay, so this is question 3.3. We're given 3 examples here. The first one, I've written in the flats and the sharp that's actually appearing in this one. You have to name the key. So I put down the options for each one here and what we should expect to find in those keys. Starting here with G major, obviously an F sharp, B flat major, B flat and E flat. D major would have F sharp and C sharp, and G minor, I'd recommend that you put the key signature down, but also then what could be your raised 6th and 7th has it's a minor key. So in this one we could have an E natural or an F sharp. So looking through what we have B flat, E flat, F sharp and B flat. So again, that rules out the B flat major, which is B flat and E flat, because there's an F sharp here. So this is the key that it is actually for this one because of the F sharp accidental. Then G flat minor, this is one that is hard to get your head around, but it's basically you go up 3 semitones and 2 letter names. So we're going from here. So it's 1, 2, 3. So again, I've only gone 1 letter name up from G, so it has to be B something. It's not B flat. Okay, so it is B double flat major. So don't worry about this. This is just a complete head wreck that the Associated Board use, and it's completely unnecessary. Let's look through what we've been given. So we've an A flat, we've B flat, we've D flat, E flat, and G flat. So B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. And we have looked over here and we have an option here for that. Okay, so it's not this because it doesn't have all the other ones that we've come across in the actual sample, and it's not, there's no D natural or E natural here. We're discounting this one because it's just completely like ridiculous. So here is our option for the 5 flats, the D flat major. Options as our keys. So we have E flat major, which has B flat, E flat, and A flat. Then we'll just take the other major here for a second. So that's B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. And then our 2 minors. So if I go 3 semitones up here, I land on E flat. So it is B flat, E flat, and A flat. And then plus, because I have a minor, I could have an A natural or a B natural. And then F minor is 3 semitones up is A flat, so 4 flats, B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. And plus my minor raised 6th or 7th, D, so it could be a D natural or an E natural there. So that's what I'm looking out for with those. Let's look at what we've got. So we have got a natural there, so I'm automatically thinking minor. So we're in the bass. Watch your clefs when you're naming out your notes. So B flat, A flat, E flat, and a B natural. And you could jump here and circle the first one, but because we've got the B natural there and we've taken the time to figure out what we should be expecting from our keys if we're in the minors, it is actually this one with the natural. So C minor is our correct option in this group. This is question 3.4. So this one is to tick the box X and 1 Y to show what note should be next, given our scale that's been named in the question. So A major, again, if you want to look back to question 3.1, we talked about Father Charles goes down and ends battle and how that helps us to figure out what sharps are in our scales if we're not sure. But this one has 3 sharps. We're looking at F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. Okay, and we know that because if we go 1 semitone up from G, we land on A. So now we know that A major has these 3 sharps, and we always use this order because it follows the sentence Father Charles goes, and so we know we're correct. Okay, so starting on the A, and our next note down is a G sharp, and then we're missing something here from X, so we've been given some options here on the X line, and we need to figure out what is the correct option for that. Okay, so if we're in the scale of A major, we should have our 3 sharps, and our next one should be an F, so our F sharp is the next one we're going to tick there. Okay, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, and our next note should be a B and a B natural. So question 3.5, which clef will be correct to do the scale? So it's a process of elimination. You can start and say, okay, it looks like if we were taking this as the treble clef, it would be a B flat. So what minor scale would that be? B flat minor. It's related to D flat major. So you're expecting B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, and G flat. And because it's a minor, we have to remember our raised 6th or 7th. We don't know whether it's harmonic or melodic yet. So let's just see what we could have. If we're starting on B, our 6th and 7th would be G. So it could be a G natural
or an A natural there.
So if we're starting on the treble, got B, C, D, E, F, G, A natural and B flat. So yes, it could very possibly be that it's a B flat, maybe that one. So our first option here makes the most sense for us. So it is going to be the treble clef. Our next one along then, our options for the treble, let's see if it was a treble, it would be starting on a C. So C minor would be related to E flat major. So we're expecting flats and there's sharps in this one, so it's not going to be the treble. Our next option along is the bass, which would mean that this is an E. So it could be our minor, E minor scale, which would mean that it would be related to G, so F sharp and a D sharp. And we've E, D, C, B, we have a B sharp, A, G, F sharp, E. So that throws that one out. Okay, so it's not going to be the bass clef there. Our next one is the alto. So if we have the alto clef, that's our middle C here. So that will be an octave above that. So it's starting on a D. So that would be D minor. D minor is related to F major. So again, F major is a flat key, not a sharp key, so it's not going to be that. And then our last one is the tenor clef. So again, that places our C here, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So that would be a B there. It would be B minor, which would be related to D major, B, A sharp, G, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, and B. It is actually our tenor clef. So the correct option there for that one. The last one then, if we think of it as in the treble clef, this would be a D. D minor would be related to F major, so D, E, F, there wouldn't be an F flat, so it's not going to be that. A bass clef, this would mean that would be an F. I have an F, G, A flat, B flat, C. We could have a D flat or an E flat here, but because they're minor, yeah, so it's the bass clef for that one. Let's just rule out the other ones. So our other option is the alto clef, and if it was alto, there would be our C, C, B, A, G, F, E, so it would be an E minor, which is related to G major, so that's a sharp key, so we know that's wrong. And then the alto, the tenor clef here, places our middle C here, and so that would be a C, so C minor. It is a flat key, C, D, E flat, F, there wouldn't be an F flat in it. C minor is related to E flat major, 3 sharp, 3 flats, B, E, A. We're looking at the bass clef, we're correct. This is the chromatic scale, so we need to mark it as being true or false. It shouldn't be more than 2 of any note. Every note should be there shouldn't be any notes skipped. And if, for example, your first note starts on a B flat, you would also expect that your last note would be B flat and not an A sharp. Even though they would be enharmonically the same, it would be incorrect to have it there. So we've started on the right note, both of those are B flats, okay? And then we need a note on every line and space going down, which there is, and we just need to see that every note now steps down 1 semitone from the note above it. So B flat to A to A flat to G, G to G flat to F, F to E is a semitone, so we don't need anything there, F to E to E flat to D, D to D flat, same as C sharp, C, D flat to C, C to C flat is B, okay, so it is a semitone lower, and then B to B flat, so it is true. So our first note should be D, and our last note should be a D. It's correct. Shouldn't have more than 2 of any note. So when I'm looking up the line, I'm drawn to a part here where I can see that there's 3 on the one line. I know from that there shouldn't be more than 2 of any one note. We have a B flat, a B natural, and a B sharp. So that's actually incorrect. True or false to these questions. And these are just testing your degrees of the scale. So your tonic, supertonic, median. So if I just write out a scale of C, for example. Okay, so we have 8 notes. 1 and 8 are the same. They are the tonic. 2 is the supertonic, so just above the tonic. 3 is the median. 4 is the subdominant, the note that comes before 5, which is the dominant. 6 is called the submedian. Okay, and then the 7th note is always called the leading note. Given an A, we're in the treble clef. Always watch your clefs. Is this the submedian in the scale of C sharp minor? So obviously you need to know your keys as well, because you need to watch your accidentals. It could be an A, but there may be an accidental you need to be careful of. So C sharp minor, you go 3 semitones and 2 letter names up to find the related major. So we're landing on E major. So you're going to go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Is A in the submedian position? We've already said, looking at these notes down here, that 6th note is the submedian. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is the submedian. Now it could be a sharp, or it could be a natural. It just depends if you're raising them. If you leave them natural, in the natural minor of the scale. If you raise the 6th and 7th, you're in the melodic version of the scale. So it's true that is the submedian in C. Next one then is we're given a D. Asked, is this a dominant in G sharp minor? So G sharp minor, again, you go up 3 semitones and 2 letter names, you land on B. So we're looking at B major as our key signature. G sharp minor, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So is this the dominant in G sharp minor? So the D is a note that's not affected by the harmonic or melodic version or natural minor of the scale. It should be a D sharp, so it's not a sharp. It's just a D natural, so it's false. In the back into the treble clef, and this is a G sharp. And we're asked if this is the leading note in the scale of A major. So if I write out my scale of A, and it has 3 sharps, F, C, and G. Leading note, our leading note is the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, G, and it's a sharp, and that's correct, so it's true. Of course, in grade 5, you now have compound, which just means basically that it's over an octave. And we can see here by looking at what we've been given that it is over an octave. In the bass clef, this is our middle C. So G, F, E, D, C, B. So this is a B, and this note here is an F. When it's perfect, it's either diminished or augmented. We always take the lower note as being our major scale first. B major has 5 sharps, so this is one of them, so F should actually be sharp. So for this to be a perfect interval, it would be an F sharp, but it's an F natural, so we've lowered it. And when you lower a perfect interval, you make it diminished. So it's a diminished something or other. I've been given a diminished 11th, so diminished is correct, but is it an 11th? Let's count up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. A 12th. And it's a minor 12th? No, because we know it's a diminished. It's not augmented either, so it's a compound diminished 5th. This one here is an A flat. This note here is an E flat. Always take account of the accidentals. They're hugely important in these intervals. Okay. A, B, C, D, E equals an interval of a 5th. Okay. And because A flat major has 4 flats and E is one of them, it is in the major scale, so it should be perfect. Okay, so there's our answer there. Again, we can see this is over an octave, so we could be looking at a compound, or we might have to count up through the intervals to see what interval it is. Let's figure out what the notes are first. We're in the treble clef. It's a G. Again, if you're not sure, this is middle C. So C, B, A, G. It's a G2, and this is an F flat. Forget about the interval of the compound at the moment and that it's over the octave. Let's just count up what this would normally be, okay? So if we had a G here, let's say, okay, it would be G to F flat. G, A, B, C, D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's a 7th, okay? And G major should have an F sharp. So F sharp would be the major 7th. If we cancel out the F sharp there and bring it down to a natural, we'd go from major to, so F sharp would be major. The next step down is minor. So F natural would be the minor, but we've gone another step lower than that again. So it's definitely diminished. It's a diminished 7th. That's minor, so that's incorrect. That's a major, that's again incorrect. And diminished 13th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the 13 would land us here. So it is a compound diminished 7th. So as a tip, we always take our lowest note as our major key. Again, always watch your clef. So we're being given an F sharp here to an E flat. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So therefore it's not going to be perfect because the perfect ones are 4ths, 5ths and 8ths. In F sharp major, you have F, C, G, D, A and E sharp. So the E there would be a sharp. So if it was an E sharp, it would be a major interval. E natural brings it down from major to minor. And they've gone down another step because instead of a natural, they've actually made it a flat. So they've taken another step down. So it's actually a diminished interval. In the treble clef, it's an A. And again, watch your key signature because here, this is going to be an F sharp. A to F sharp. If you think of A major, which has 3 sharps, F, C and G, F sharp is part of it, is part of the major scale. So it's a major interval. So in the bass clef, so this is D to A sharp, D, E, F, G, A. So it is an interval of a 5th. So you have to be careful when it's a 5th because 4ths, 5ths and 8ths, they're perfect intervals. And if you change them from perfect, it's either they become smaller, they're diminished. If they become bigger, they're augmented. Here, D to A. In D major, A shouldn't be a sharp, okay? A should just be a natural. It would be the perfect. So we've made the interval wider. Now we've gone from A to A sharp. Make a perfect interval bigger. You make it augmented. So okay, so we're given a compound major 6th. So basically this means we need to go major 6th up, but we need to bring it up the octave. Firstly, we'll just figure out what note we've been given and a major 6th above it, and then we just bring it up the octave from there. This is G in the bass clef. So G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G. It's a G flat. And we need a major 6th above that. In G flat major, we have B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, and C flat. So a major 6th, this is our major scale. So G, A, B, C, D, E. E is our 6th note. So it should be a flat. G flat to E flat, because we have to make sure it's an octave above, it's a compound. So like this is G, and this is the G here, something above this G. So we go G, A, B, C, D, E. So E, and don't forget to put in your flat, an augmented third from up from this note. Again, note your key signature and your clef. We're in the bass clef, so it's a B flat. We want to have a third above that, so it's going to be a D something. This is our D. B flat to D. If we take B flat major, it's just B flat and E flat, so D is natural, so it is a major third. So we have to do something to the D to make it higher, and one step higher than a major is an augmented, one step higher than a D is a D sharp, so we just add a sharp to the D. Minor 7th up from this note. We're in the treble clef, so it's a C, and it is a sharp, so it's C sharp to something else. So count up your 7th first, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, so it's going to be a B something. Don't have C sharp major in grade 5, so think of it as C sharp minor, and in C sharp minor, we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, related to E majors.
and you have A and B here, your sixths and your sevenths, which if left natural, because they're naturally in the natural minor scale, which means I'm not making them higher, okay, you have a B there, which is natural. So if I made it a B sharp, that would be major, but if I leave it as it is without changing it, I'm making it a minor. I want a minor second up from this note. We're in the treble clef and we've no sharps or flats or anything, so this is just E natural. A minor second, so up one note. So if you think of E as E major, it will have an F sharp. So E major has 4 sharps, F, C, G and D. So if we put an F sharp here, it's going to make it a major, but if we leave it as an F natural, meaning we've lowered it by 1, so 1 step down from major is minor, it's a minor second.
What I always like to do is write out the chord possibilities. Okay.
So you have 1, F, A, C, 2, G, B, flat, D. You have 4, B flat, D, F, and 5 is C, E, or G. And the cadences we have are perfect, so that's 5-1. We have plagal, which is 4-1. We have imperfect, which is anything to 5.
The chords that we use here should form a cadence. So if it's not one of these, you've used the wrong chord. So if we look at the notes that were given, we have F, D, and B flat. So basically E here is what we call a passing note. It's not a harmony note. Back to the chords that we have, the only real option we have for this is 4. So that's going to be a 4. We have an A and an F. If we look at the options that we have, we've chord 1.
And does 4-1 make a cadence? It does. It's a plagal cadence.
We have 3 chords, but again, the last 2 of these should form a cadence.
Look at our notes. We've got B, G, and D. So B, G, and D. What chord has that? That's chord 2. So we put chord 2 in the box. And we have C, F, and A. F, A, C. So that's chord 1. Has a G, E, and a C. So C, E, G is chord 5. And we know we're correct because chord 1 to 5 is imperfect. So we have a cadence here. So the 4-1 is plagal, and the 1 to 5 is imperfect. Is name each cadence. 1 is C, E, G, 2 is E, F, A, 4 is A, C, and 5 is G, B, D. F, C, F again and A, so F, A, C. So looking at our chords, that's chord 4. Is C, C again, E and G, so that's chord 1. So here it's 4-1, which is plagal. 1, D, F, A, 2, E, G, B, 4, D, E, F, G, G, B, D, and 5, A, C, E. E, G, B, E, so E, G, B is chord 2. A, and A again, C and E, which is chord 5. So anything to 5 is imperfect. So the F major, we go F, A, C. 2 is G, B, D. 4, F, G, A, B, so it's B, flat, D, F. And 5 is C, E, G. When you've got a chord in root position, it means that the first one of each chord is in the bass. If it's a first inversion, which is a B, so let's say 1B, it means that the second note is in the bass. So if it was chord 1B here, A would be the note that would be in the bass. And if it's a chord C, it means that the last note in the chord is in the bass. First one here we're looking at is this one, or an F. We have a B and a D. F, B, and D. So B, D, F is chord 4, but because the F is in the bass, okay, it's a second inversion, so it is a 4C. There's G in the bass, and then E and C above it. Again, chord 5, C in root position, first inversion with the E, but it's the G, so it's the second inversion, so it is 5C. So here we have 5C. We have an A in the bass, we have a C above it, and we have F. So we have A, C, and F, which is basically F, A, C. And again, our A is the one in the bass, so F is root position, A is first inversion, so it is a first inversion of the first one, so it is 1B.
To tick the one correct statement. Only A and C are correctly rewritten 2 octaves lower. A full octave and a bit over that. This is the G below middle C, and our one is the G above that again, so it is 2 octaves below that. There's our middle C. G, this is G above middle C. Here is our middle C, C, D, E, F, G. Again, that's just the G above middle C. Only A and C are correctly written. That's false. Only A is rewritten 2 octaves lower. That is correct. Circle true or false to each of these 5 statements about music. The violin should be played sweetly. We've got a direction here for dolce, which means sweetly, so that is true. G minor is the relative minor key of E flat major, so it is not, because you go down 3 semitones from E flat and you land on C, so it's C minor, so that's false. Widest interval in the violin part is a perfect fourth. Here in bar 7 we have an interval from C to G, so that's a fifth. False. And then the lowest note in the extract is C, not saying violin part. So we have to have a look and see in the bass part as well if the lowest note is C. Down here in this part here we have a E walls. And then the speed of the music is very slow. Andantino con moto. So andantino is faster than andante anyway, and it says con moto, so even with movement, so it's false. Which other instrument is best suited to play the violin part so that it sounds at the same pitch? Not double bass, not the bassoon, and not the timpani. So the obvious choice there is the flute because it's also a treble instrument. How many times does the submediant note in the key of E flat major appear in the violin part? So E flat major, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, E flat, B flat, and B flat, E flat, and A flat. And it's the submediant, if you remember from other videos, it's the sixth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. C we're looking for. How many times does this appear in the violin part? We have 1, 2. So it's twice. Just take 2. Complete the following 2 sentences by adding a number to each. So bar something contains a tonic chord in second inversion of E flat major. So the tonic chord in E flat major is E flat, G, B flat. And in second inversion means that the B flat is in the bass. So bar something contains a tonic chord of E, G, B. That's G in the bass, E, G, B, B. So there's our chord with the 3 notes we need. E, G, and B. And the B is in the bass. So it is in bar 3. Okay, and then bar something contains a chord of G major, G in the bass, D and B, so it's bar 7.